What comes to your mind when you hear the words Brazilian Counter-Strike? Probably it would be MIBR, Luminosity, or SK, where Fallen and coldzera made it to the top 2 of HLTV in 2016, starting their era, which has now become a part of history. But maybe there will be some people who think of Gaules, who casts games from his apartment and often appears in the news headlines with a new online record. But only the international community sees him as that guy who breaks all the records. For Brazilian Counter-Strike fans, he is a legend. Former pro player and coach, the owner of Generation X, and just the guy who cheered for the local esports scene long before he gained huge popularity. Don't forget to leave a like and subscribe because you are watching CYBERSHOKE. And today, we're going to tell you the story of one of the most interesting personalities in Counter-Strike, Gaules, a man who conquered depression and gained global popularity. Alexandre Gaules Borba was born in 1983 in Brazilian São Paulo. In his childhood, he played football a lot and dreamed of getting into a prestigious club. But because of a knee injury, he started to visit gaming clubs instead of football practice. And when it dawned on him that he now had zero chance to make it in football, he decided to make the switch to esports. He said, "Video games gave me the same feeling as sports did. Maybe I'm not that good at the game, but I've got the character of an athlete." He chose to go by Gaules because it was his mother's nickname for him. It's a reference to the Gauls tribe, who in their time conquered a big part of Europe. His first goal in the game was to be accepted in Monkey Tatuapé. It was a team signed by the gaming club he visited. The guys trained there for free, and young Gaules, who sometimes didn't have the money to pay for even a couple of hours there, looked at them with jealousy. Alexandre asked them to give him a chance numerous times and always got rejected, but giving up wasn't a part of his plan. After a while, the owner of that gaming club decided to give him a chance, and he formed an academy team that helped to motivate Gaules. From then on, our kid started to wake up at 7 a.m. and go not to school, but to that club to train as hard as he could. Soon after, he got into a situation similar to how Bit ended up in Navi. Monkey Tatuapé decided to take him on a LAN tournament in Rio just as a guest, as a sign of gratitude for his diligence and good behavior in the club. On that LAN, when one of the players got very nervous in the middle of the game, Monkey Tatuapé decided to replace him with Gaules to give this kid a deserved chance. Alexandre didn't even change game settings or devices and just sat on his chair and played very well. After that game, Monkey Tatuapé invited him to be a part of the main roster on a permanent basis, and this was a big win for our hero. Unfortunately, after a while, that chapter of Gaules' life came to an end. The owner of that gaming club decided to rebuild the roster, and since Alexandre wasn't even invited to a test, he started to form his own team. Gaules called it Generation X, Gex in short. It was July in 2001. In that time, Gex succeeded in 2 ways. First, they qualified for the WCG 2001 and reached the quarterfinals, stopping at 8th place. A very nice result. Second, thanks to Gaules' negotiating skills, they got a sponsorship deal with Intel. Despite his parents' constant encouragement to go to college, Gaules started to live in one of the São Paulo gaming clubs with his team. The guys trained as hard as they could, and until 2006, they were one of the best Brazilian teams. But in one moment, it all changed. Gex was excited about the Championship Gaming Series, a big tournament in the USA that would even be streamed on TV. And right before it was about to start, Intel stopped sponsoring their roster, and the team couldn't afford to travel there anymore. Very, very bad timing. Soon after, Gaules received a great offer from Brazilian organization MIBR. But there was one catch. MIBR chose 6 players, and the guys had to decide for themselves who should be kicked. Not wanting to part ways with anyone, Alexandre made a very selfless act. He gave away his player spot and became their coach, so all 6 of them would stay together. This is how he became one of the first coaches in Counter-Strike. With him, MIBR played very well, and they even won the prestigious DreamHack Winter at the end of 2007. Also, there was a very illustrious illustrative story with that land. Since Alexandra was not only a coach, but also a manager in MIBR, it was him who received a direct invite from TO. And guess what? He rejected it. He said to the team that if they can't pass the open quals, then there's no chance that they will make it to be world champions. He recalls, "I felt like a member of the team, even without a mouse and keyboard in my hands. Maybe I was the first happy coach in the whole of Counter-Strike." In 2008, Gaules made not a stupid, but at least a strange and unexpected decision for a man like him. His friend from Intel Times invited him to test for a marketing position in Samsung, and Alexandra went for it. And while yesterday's students were bragging about their grades, Gaules was talking about his achievements in esports, since he didn't have anything else to brag about. He didn't even know how to use Excel, but then he got the job. In Samsung, Gaules was responsible for marketing, business deals, and overall growth of the company in Brazil. He worked there for 2 years until he started to crave esports again. Realizing that, he bought a nice bottle of wine, went to his boss, shook his hand, and quit. Alexandra spent the next few years working on 2 projects, his media agency, Agencia X5, and Gex, which grew from just one team into a multi-gaming organization. Also, he created a league for local sports, which was a big deal in Brazil, and built an enormous esports arena with the help of business partners. 2017 was a very painful year in Alexandra's career. He quit all the projects he was a part of and sold all of his business shares to invest in one project, which failed miserably. All of this resulted in a nervous breakdown and a diagnosis of clinical depression. His girlfriend couldn't take it anymore and took off. Things were not looking good. Here's what Gaules said about those times. "I've always had a hard life, but this year, so many things about my family and work appeared that I just couldn't stand it. I thought I was going to be able to get through it and be a real warrior, but depression is stronger. It eats away at you. It takes all the light from your life and distances you from the people you love. And every day you are thinking about one thing: why am I living? What's the point?" At the end of 2017, he was seriously considering ending his life. He was standing on the edge of a roof, ready to step off. But then he saw the tattoo on his hand that he had done many years ago. It said one word: resilience. Staring at that tattoo, he gave the world one more chance. Alexandra decided to make it in the streaming world and said to himself that he would stream as if it were the last day of his life. He started to stream in January of 2018, and all he had was a cheap apartment, PC, and a mattress. Gaules took some part-time jobs to make a living, but his money situation was so bad that he couldn't even afford to buy bread. He only bought fruit and water. That's how he remembers those times. "Streaming was a big therapy for me. I launched my streams at 7 or 8 p.m. and streamed until around 5 to 8 a.m. It's a time for people with insomnia and depression, people who just feel lonely in life. I felt bad, they felt bad, so let's just spend this time together. Maybe we'll figure something out." At first, Gaules' online count was just 5 to 10 people. Then his first breakthrough was at E-League Major 2018, where 4,000 viewers watched the final game with him. He streamed for 300 hours in the first month. Just think about that. That's almost 10 hours a day. That month, he earned $80 from Twitch and spent it on food and medicine. Then, Alexandra got a message from his former colleague. The guy said that he felt bad watching how Gaules looked like he was begging for money. Around that time, he also got a text from his ex-girlfriend. She said that the man she loved became a joke. Reading all of this, Alexandra felt even more motivation to continue pursuing a career on Twitch. At the Face It Major in London, Gaules broke his record again. His stream of Furia's game peaked at 15,000 online. In the second half of the year, when his online count became strong, Gaules started to stream Brazilian leagues to support the local esports scene. His channel was growing rapidly, and it only took 9 months for Alexandra to become the #1 Twitch streamer in the CSGO category from scratch. When he finally obtained financial stability, he started to help others in need. He always donated a part of his earnings to charity and sometimes took people from the street to lunch in a cafe. During COVID times, Gaules donated $40,000 to help people who needed it. Soon after that, the whole world started to talk about him. In December of 2019, Gaules made it to the top 7 most popular Twitch streamers, and he was the only non-English creator in the whole top 10. How did he achieve such a great result? There are 2 main reasons. The first is his authenticity. He is sincerely concerned about the well-being of his audience, and the viewers feel it. He doesn't even try to conceal his love for the Brazilian CSGO teams, and he doesn't try to be anyone other than himself. For example, when he feels that it's enough CSGO for today, he can turn on the web camera and just chat with the viewers. He'll talk about his life, recall some interesting stories, and just chat with the audience. When there was a fire in the neighboring apartment, the first thing that he did was not to evacuate, but show it to the viewers. And the second reason for Alexandre's huge success is his hard-working nature. Just imagine, in 2019, there wasn't a single day that he didn't stream. A huge breakthrough awaited him in 2020. In the first half of it, his online count would sometimes reach 150K, while in the second half, it more than doubled from that. At the major in Stockholm a year ago, Gaules set a new record. The game of Furia vs Gambit on his stream peaked at 340K online. This number was so high that he became the #1 streamer on the entire Twitch platform that month. And at the Antwerp Major, he, guess what, set a new record. This time it was an unthinkable number of 700,000 viewers watching the game of Imperial vs Cloud9 at the same time. We hope for only one thing, that those of you who didn't know Gaules' story now realize that he is not just that guy who streams from his apartment, but rather a hardworking, dedicated person. Well, since the next major will be in Rio, this adds one more reason to watch it. You never know, maybe Alexandre will set a new record and even pass 1 million online. If you enjoyed this video, please consider subscribing to our channel. We just started working on it not too long ago, and your support would mean the world to us. You were watching CYBERSHOKE. Thank you, and we'll see you in a few days.